Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to StarCraft 2 Strategy, your number one location for step-by-step strategy and tutorial videos. Today we're going to be taking a look at a Protoss strategy. Now earlier in the day, I posted a Terran strategy, the Marine Banshee build, Ray Banshee, I almost said Ray Banshee. It's the Marine Banshee build that I posted earlier in the day, and today we're actually going to be taking a look right now at how to counter that as a Protoss player. Basically, we're going to look at what to look for when you scout your opponent, and when seeing certain things, what to expect, and then how to respond properly. We're just going to start off with the standard build, though, by going for, or basically putting in the works, what we need to go for warp gate tech and get some warp gates out. Warp gates essential to nearly every single Protoss build. I don't see really many strong ones without it. So yeah, we're just going to do pretty standard stuff, starting off with the 9 pylon and then moving into a 12 gateway. So again, this is a Protoss versus Terran strategy, but more specifically, it's a good response to that Marine Banshee build. I keep almost trying to say Raven. I don't know what my problem is. So in this particular strategy replay, our Protoss player is White Raw, and the Terran opponent today is Morrow. So it's another match between these two players that we did see in the Terran perspective. So starting off again with that 10 pylon, that 9 pylon, and then moving into that 12 gateway, chrono boosting out some probes. We're going to work on a really strong economy early on in the game. Unless we see something that looks like possibly an early rush, then we're not going to worry about it. For example, if we moved in right now, and we saw that we might be getting a Reaper Rush, then we'd go ahead and get that fast Cybernetics core. But since we don't see, once we finally move our probe in the proper spot, you do always want to check the gas, because that is vital to any scouting information. That's going to tell you a lot about what your opponent's doing. When we do move up and check this gas, we're not going to see any refineries, and it is going to tell us that there's no Reaper coming out. And then, of course, looking at this barracks here, seeing the lack of a tech lab on it, we know that there is no Reaper coming out. So we don't have to worry about an early Reaper rush. So going back to our base, as you can see, there's still no Cybernetics core. Knowing that we're not seeing Reapers anytime soon, we're not too worried about getting Stalkers out immediately. So we're just going to work on our economy for the time being, and then we're going to transition. We're getting that Cybernetics core now. Once that Cybernetics core is up, we're going to start researching that warp gate tech, and then we're going to move into our response to that Marine Banshee build. Again, almost called it a Raven. Unbelievable. That Marine Banshee build, we're going to move into our response to that. And I've talked a lot about this strategy, and I still haven't even said what it was. A good response to a Marine Banshee build is, in fact, Blink Stalkers, and just Blink Stalkers. Basically, the theory behind it and what you're attempting to do is use the blink ability of the Stalker to pull back Stalkers whenever they get low in health and let them regenerate their shield, and then moving the Stalkers that are fully shielded and full on health to the front of the battle. And basically what you're doing in doing this is, because there are no medevacs on the field, you're effectively wearing down your opponent in these small battles by using your micro, again by pulling back your Stalkers, and then effectively overcoming them. So as you can see, the warp gate research is going down right now. We're at 29 supply. We are dropping a second gateway. Of course, we are getting that robotics facility. Getting a robotics facility early on in the game, very important in most builds that you're going to be going for as a Protoss player, because of the fact that the type of information, how vital it can be, that you're going to be able to get from an observer. Observers are just absolutely phenomenal units. If you don't implement them in regular gameplay as a Protoss player, I strongly suggest getting in the habit of doing so. It provides invaluable information. The fact that it's a cloaked unit is incredibly helpful as well, and depending on where you put it in your opponent's base, it can be very hard for them to see it. Now obviously when it's moving around, they can see that kind of shaded area moving about, but if you have it in a highly textured area on the map and just have it sitting there, they're not likely to be able to see it very well. So again, very effective for scouting information, and it kind of is what makes Protoss, I think personally, one of the best races for responding to your opponent. Obviously responding to your opponent is a big part of StarCraft strategy, responding to whatever your opponent is doing. And I think with the choice of having an observer with the ability of having that scouting information almost on a regular basis, having full knowledge of what your opponent's doing, that makes Protoss the best reactionary race. It makes them best able to respond to what your opponent's doing. So for that very reason, I think they're very. I mean, I think all the races are very strong. Obviously, people are going to scream and shout at me about Zerg, but you know, whatever, to each his own. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. So here we go. We do have that Twilight Council down. Again, what I said that we were going to be doing is going for those Blink Stalkers. And I'm sorry, I was talking over our scouting information. When we moved into the base here with the Observer, we saw the makings of those fast Banshees. In fact, we do see them perfectly clear right now. They're right there. We saw the makings of those fast Banshees, and of course we saw this barracks again without a tech lab and these 2 barracks being built, and it does look like, of course, he is going for that Marine Banshee build. So we are, of course, going to respond, like I said, by just massing Blink Stalkers. It's going to be very, very effective because, again, we're able to pull them back and use them to use that micromanagement to our advantage by moving our fully shielded units to the front and pulling our wounded ones to the back and letting them regenerate. And that's why Blink Stalkers are very effective versus that Marine and Banshee build. Pulling our Observer back because we don't want to lose it quite yet. We want to make sure that he doesn't scan and pop it off with the Marines that he has. But again, we got the information we need. I mean, we saw these 2 starports with the tech labs on them building. Obviously, we can be expecting Banshees out of those. And we saw these 3 barracks. So looking at this, it looks like, okay, we're going to be seeing Marines and Banshees. So we're going to be responding again with these Blink Stalkers. We are choosing to go for that 4 Warp Gate tech. Not 5 Gate at this point because we don't quite have the economy to support it. These 4 Warp Gates is going to be more than enough to fully use up any of the minerals that we're going to be gathering at this point. Once we move on to a 2nd or 3rd base, then we can start increasing the amount of Warp Gates that we have. But 4 is pretty much ideal for 1 base play. So moving forward here, and this is going to be the vital part of the strategy. You really need to make sure you're pretty strong on micro in order to implement this properly. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult for you. They're going to do a ton of damage to you. You need to make sure, again, that you're able to pull back your units. And basically, like I said, what we're trying to do is just wear them down. We move in, we pick units off, we blink back. When our shields regenerate, or once they get close to fully regenerated, then we go ahead and move back in. We basically take 0 losses, and they lose a few units each time. So you may be asking, well, what if he just fully engages you? Well, this is what you're going to do. If he full-on engages you and chases you, instead of letting you move in and pick off units, you just do a little bit of micro. You pull back those units in the front that are getting damage. And I'll go ahead and put up the health bar view so you can see specifically what's going on here. So he's going to be moving forward. Now, whenever these units start to get low, we're going to select them, and we're going to blink them back. As you can see there, blink them back, blink it back, blink it back. And that's how you're going to be able to most effectively do this. Now, obviously, you're not going to be able to do it for every single unit. It's going to be very hard, unless your micro is just completely insane. But for most of them, just keep an eye on your units. Try to have those health bars up. That's something I haven't mentioned in the past. Playing with health bars, really good idea. You want to kind of make sure you have those enabled when you play. It's going to allow you to micro much better. It's going to allow you to save those damaged units much easier. So we're moving up, using that observer to blink right into his base, and there you go. We were able to take down everything he had. So again, the reason this Blink Stalker strategy was an effective response to the Marine Banshee build was because of micromanagement. We need to make sure that we're able to micro those back, and that is what's going to allow us to wear down his army and to eventually overcome him. So again, taking a look at the build order, we start off with that 9 pylon, followed it up with a 12 gateway. Moved out, got some scouting information, saw that there were no Reapers coming anytime soon. We saw barracks without a tech lab. We also didn't see a refinery at that point, so we knew there were no Reapers anytime soon. So we were pretty safe by not getting that gateway, not getting that Cybernex core right away. We just kind of went for strong economy. We got our assimilator, and then afterwards, we went ahead and we got our Cybernex core. And then once that was out, we started researching our Warp Gate tech. We of course again dropped that Robotics facility to get some more valuable scouting information. Once we get our observer out, we moved into his base. We did see, we were confirmed that we saw those 2 starports and a bunch of Marines, so we knew at that point that we're going to be seeing lots of Marines and some Banshees as well. So we responded by building more gateways for our warp gate tech and getting this Twilight Council and researching Blink. Now once Blink is done researching, that's when you're going to want to choose to go ahead and move out, because that's when you're going to be able to again use that micromanagement to your advantage. So yeah guys, as you can see, this is a very effective response to that Marine Banshee build. Once again, this has been for StarCraft 2 strategy. If you guys like our videos and you like what we're doing here, please do go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Keep watching and keep owning, guys. While we're trying to do as much harassment inside of his base as possible. As you can see, we did drop those zealots, forcing those probes away from the line, and we're going to start picking off this nexus. And now what we're also going to do is go ahead and use that pylon power from this warp prism to have the option of warping in more units if necessary. So here we are.